What is up, everyone? We have a solid lineup of survival games scheduled for 2026. It's an interesting mix this year. We're seeing some long-awaited sequels to huge franchises, alongside some darker, experimental titles that focus on pure survival mechanics. If you're looking for your next open world to conquer, here are the top 10 survival games coming out in 2026. Let's get into it. This is Hello Sunshine, developed by Red Thread Games, and it completely destroys the idea of building a stationary base. The premise is terrifyingly simple. The world is a scorched wasteland where direct sunlight kills you in seconds. You play as the final employee of a ruined corporate empire, and your only hope for survival is to walk in the shadow of a massive, colossal robot that is constantly moving forward. This creates a brand new mechanic called shade management. You have to sprint out of the robot's shadow to scavenge for supplies and then rush back before you burn. But at night, the temperature drops to freezing, so you have to hug the machine for warmth. It's a constant nomadic loop where if the robot leaves you behind, you are dead. We also saw that you can deploy little guys, small helper bots that do tasks for you, and the game supports online co-op, so you and a friend can panic together as you try to keep up with your giant mechanical babysitter. If you are bored of the standard punch tree, build hut formula, this is doing something totally fresh. Okay, so this is the one that completely broke the internet at the Game Awards. This is Forest 3. We all expected another island full of cannibals, but In-Night Games just pulled a massive bait and switch. This isn't just a sequel, it is a full-blown sci-fi survival horror. You don't start on a plane or a helicopter this time, you are in a spaceship. And when it inevitably crashes, because, well, it's a forest game, you aren't on Earth anymore. You are stranded in a swamp on a completely alien planet. The gameplay loop has evolved into something way weirder. You have this new mounted robot arm that acts as your primary multi-tool. It isn't just for show, you use it to physically catch those nasty facehugger enemies in midair and scan the alien flora to figure out what's edible. We also saw the character collecting strange glowing worms and resins, so the crafting system is going to be completely foreign compared to the sticks and stones we are used to. And for the first time, we are seeing heavy firepower. The trailer showed energy weapons and actual gunplay, which you are going to need because the enemies are massive tentacle monstrosities. It's a huge risk to leave the woods behind, but if you wanted the forest meets Prometheus, this is exactly what you've been waiting for. Next up, we have the game that has been terrifying everyone on social media for years. This is Ill, and if you have a weak stomach, you might want to look away now because this is pure, unfiltered body horror. Developed by Team Clout, and now backed by Mundfish, the Atomic Heart guys, this is easily the best-looking horror game we have ever seen. It runs on Unreal Engine 5, but the real selling point is the dynamic dismemberment system. Most games just have a headshot animation. Here, enemies fall apart exactly where you shoot them. You can blow chunks of flesh off their ribs, shatter their legs to make them crawl, or split them in half, and they will keep coming at you. The story is simple. You are trapped in a massive, snowy research fort trying to save a loved one, but the survival mechanics are what make it stressful. You have to manually check your weapons for jams and scavenge for resources in a physics-based world where monsters can literally smash through doors. The developers are former VFX artists who worked on horror movies, so the creature designs are twisted, flesh monster nightmares that look like something out of The Thing. It is gross, it is disturbingly realistic, and it is easily the most visceral survival game of 2026. Next up, we have the sequel to arguably the best survival game ever made. This is Blackfrost: The Long Dark 2, and Hinterland Games is finally giving us the one feature we've been begging for over the last decade: co-op. You can finally survive the quiet apocalypse with a friend, which changes the entire dynamic. The setting has moved from the wilderness to the industrial city of Harmont. It's been a year since the lights went out, and you aren't just fighting the cold anymore. You are dealing with a new radioactive weather event called the Blackfrost that leaks from a nearby reactor. This means you actually have to scavenge for gas mask filters and monitor your radiation levels on top of your calories. The world feels more alive, too. For the first time, there are actual NPC survivor communities where you can trade and take on side quests, turning this into more of a survival RPG. Plus, they've added a will-to-live system, so you have to manage your psychological resilience. If you lose hope, you die just as fast as if you froze. It runs on Unreal Engine 5, so the lighting looks incredible, but the core loop is still that brutal, methodical survival we love. Whether you play solo or with a buddy, this is shaping up to be the definitive survival experience of 2026.
Really spectacular, spared no expense. For this place, I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real.
Can anyone hear me? This is Dr. Maya Joshi. I've been left behind on Isla Nubla.
Okay, next up is the one we have all been waiting for. This is Jurassic Park Survival. And honestly, it looks like the alien isolation of dinosaur games. It is being developed by Saber Interactive, and they are finally giving us the game we wanted 30 years ago. The premise is perfect. It takes place exactly one day after the 1993 movie. The helicopter left, the park is destroyed, and you are still there. You play as Dr. Maya Joshi, an InGen scientist who missed the evacuation, and unlike other dino shooters, you are not a soldier. The gameplay is strictly first-person survival, and the whole idea is that you cannot kill these things. You have to outsmart them. The stealth mechanics are heavy. You are using distractions, locking doors, and hiding in lockers while velociraptors learn your patrol routes. We saw footage of the player revisiting iconic spots like the Visitor Center and the T-Rex paddock, but they are now ruined and dark. The AI is the big selling point here. The dinosaurs have distinct reactive behaviors, meaning they hunt you rather than just attack you. If you want a game that makes you actually fear the T-Rex instead of just shooting it, this is the essential pick for 2026.
A desirous, gaping heart. It thirsts for excruciating pleasure. The very thing we offer. She is Hellbound. Follow her, for we have such sights to show you.
Okay, so what you are seeing here isn't another one of those cheap horror movie cash grabs. This is Clive Barker's Hellraiser revival, and it is honestly doing something the genre has been scared to do for years. It is being developed by Saber Interactive, the team that knows how to handle heavy action, and they are finally giving us a proper, single-player survival experience. The whole idea here isn't just running away, it's about paying the price. You play as a guy named Aiden Lynch who makes a massive mistake with the puzzle box and has to enter the labyrinth to save his girlfriend, Sunny. But the gameplay is where it gets wild. You aren't just finding keys. The survival mechanics are brutal because your melee weapons, like bats and pipes, actually break on impact, so you are constantly scrambling for resources. But the real hook is the Genesis configuration itself. You actually wield the puzzle box as your main weapon. You use it to warp reality, trigger telekinetic attacks, and literally tear the environment apart to stop the enemies. Plus, Doug Bradley is officially back to voice Pinhead, so the atmosphere is 100% authentic. Next, we have the wildest gamble in gaming history. This is Light No Fire, and it comes from Hello Games, the team that spent a decade fixing No Man's Sky. Now, they are taking that procedural tech and doing something impossible. They are building a fantasy world the size of actual Earth. We aren't talking about a big map like Skyrim or Elden Ring. We are talking about a 1-to-1 scale planet where you can pick a direction and walk for weeks without hitting an invisible wall. The hook is that everyone plays on this single, shared world. You could build a kingdom on a mountaintop, and another player could stumble upon it 3 years later. The gameplay mixes hardcore survival with deep RPG mechanics. You aren't just punching trees, you are mastering magic, fighting with swords and shields, and riding flying mounts. Yes, there are dragons, giant birds, and land beasts you can tame. The visuals are stunning, using a denser, more realistic version of their procedural engine. The water physics, the wind, the dense forests, it all look good. If No Man's Sky was about infinite breadth, this is about infinite depth. If they pull this off, we might never need to play another survival game again.
You will sleep through 14 years of flight to your new home on Caesura. We encourage you to nurture your dreams. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. When you wake up, your new life begins.
Next, we have the one that is going to ruin my sleep schedule. This is Subnautica 2, and Unknown Worlds is finally giving us the feature we've been begging for since day one: co-op. You can finally drown with your friends. It supports up to 4 players, and they've confirmed this isn't just an afterthought. The entire game is built around team-based survival. It takes place on a completely new alien planet, and because it's running on Unreal Engine 5, the water physics and lighting are a massive upgrade from the Unity engine they used before. The new threat is the Collector Leviathan, which uses a new AI system to actually react to your light and sound, meaning stealth is now a huge part of exploring the deep. We also saw a new vehicle called the Tadpole, and a genetic system where you can modify your own DNA to adapt to the planet. There was some panic about it being a live service game, but the devs shut that down. No battle passes, just regular content updates. However, it is a miracle the game is even coming out, considering the massive internal mess last year where the studio founders got fired and sued the publisher over a $250 million bonus dispute. But despite the corporate chaos, the dev team held the line. If you want the most beautiful, terrifying underwater survival experience ever made, this is the big one for 2026.
We thought the world would end in fire, but it just slowed, froze, like time holding its breath. I saved a dog once. He saved me every day since. Somewhere in the frost, we started again. Not as builders, as believers.
Next up, we have Permafrost, and this is for everyone who thinks the long dark wasn't punishing enough. The premise here is terrifying. A moon phase phenomenon called the Shattering has plunged the world into an eternal ice age. But unlike other survival games where you were just building log cabins in the woods, this takes place in the frozen ruins of modern civilization. You are scavenging through abandoned cities and factories, using engineering skills to restore complex machinery rather than just banging rocks together. You can actually repair old buildings to make them livable, which feels way more realistic than building a shack from scratch. The biggest game changer, though, is the companion system. You rescue a dog early in the game, and it isn't just a pet, it's an essential survival tool. Your dog acts as an early warning system for enemies, carries your extra loot, and even helps you hunt. If you ignore your dog, you are basically playing on hard mode. The combat is gritty, mixing primitive bows with improvised firearms as you fight off rival human factions and natural predators. It supports 4-player co-op, so you and your squad can try to rebuild society, or just rob everyone else. It's brutal, it's atmospheric, and it hits early access in 2026. Finally, we have a game that is basically Subnautica meets Snowpiercer. This is Railborn, and it comes from Washbear Studio, the same team that made Parkasaurus, so they know how to handle complex management systems. The hook here is that your base isn't stationary. You are building a train that travels through a hostile, dying world. But you aren't just driving, you are constructing a mobile ecosystem piece by piece. You have to design intricate pipe networks to distribute water and power between carriages, grow crops in mobile greenhouses, and manage the weight distribution so you don't derail on tight turns. The scale is surprisingly huge. The tracks take you through different biomes, from deep underwater tunnels all the way up into the atmosphere. It supports 4-player co-op, which is great because one person can drive while the others run around fixing leaks, fighting off enemies, and optimizing the resource flow. If you love games like Raft or Void Train, where your vehicle is your home, this looks like the next big obsession for 2026. So if you are tired of being chased by monsters and just want pure vibes, this is Outbound. It is being developed by Square Glade Games, and it is basically a van life simulator set in the utopian near future. The entire loop revolves around your electric camper van. It isn't just a vehicle, it is your mobile base. You can build modular extensions on top of the roof, customize the interior with furniture, and even set up mobile gardens to grow crops while you travel. The coolest visual detail is that your entire base actually folds down flat when you drive, so you don't hit trees, which is incredibly satisfying to watch. You also have to manage the weight of your vehicle. If you build too big or hoard too much loot, your van becomes slower and harder to handle, so you have to be smart about your design. The survival mechanics are more about engineering than combat. You have to manage your energy systems by setting up solar panels, wind turbines, and even hydro generators in nearby rivers to charge your batteries. It supports 4-player co-op, so you and your friends can automate production lines inside the van to craft complex items while you are driving to the next biome. It is launching in Q2 2026, and yes, it is confirmed for the Switch too. So if you want a survival game that feels like a road trip rather than a nightmare, this is the one.